Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to the overview of the patch 9.2. Are you ready to enter the new season of Ranked? If you are, then hold your horses, let's find out what's new first. There were a lot of changes made in this patch, so we're only going to cover the most important ones in this video. Be sure to watch this video until the end. That will definitely make it easier for you to win 10 of your qualification matches out of 10. So without further ado, let's get into it. This patch has brought a new champion into the game. His name is Silas. However, he's only going to become available to play a few days after the date of the patch. We're going to release a separate guide on this champion once he becomes available, but for now we just recommend that you ban this champion in your ranked matches whenever you can, since not only might your opponent be good with him, but also because your allies might not be as good with him as well. Silas is a new champion and not many have managed to master him yet. Aatrox. This guy has been wildly popular among the solo queue players throughout the pre-season. You could actually see him being picked in the top lane and in the mid lane alike. So it was only a matter of time for him to get nerfed. The damage ratio of his Darkin Blade has been decreased at all stages of the combo, and then the recharge time of his Umbral Dash has been increased. These changes most likely won't completely remove Aatrox from the solo queue. After all, a 15% loss of damage output during the early game isn't all that bad. However, it will be much riskier to pick him blindly from now on, simply because it will be much more difficult for him to play against highly mobile champions like Glad, Fiora, Camille or Yasuo. Overall, these changes balance Aatrox out in comparison to other top and mid lane champions. Aurelion Sol has received a slight buff. His Q recast time has been reduced, and you can now buffer it up by double tapping the casting button. Furthermore, the duration of the stun now scales with the distance traveled. This buff will most likely not increase the Sol's win rate in solo queue. After all, he's got one hell of a learning curve. However, this change will still be very much welcomed by people who've already played more than 100 games with him. An option to blow the growing star up almost immediately upon the cast can become a mighty weapon in the hands of a veteran player. Brand has received a slight nerf. The damage over time of his passive has been decreased. This nerf will mostly hit the win rate of newly found Brand players in low to average solo queue rating. Simply because Brand wasn't really popular among the players in the higher ratings to begin with. It is an unpleasant nerf, but it isn't really critical. Veteran players will still be able to make use of Brand's straightforward and effective skill set. If you happen to be maining this champion, then just don't drop him, he's still useful. Despite all the nerfs, Cassiopeia still had an impressive 52 to 53% win rate across the 3 lanes throughout the previous patch. So it isn't at all surprising to see her getting yet another nerf in patch 9.2. The cooldown of the later levels of her W spell has increased, whereas the damage has been decreased. In our honest opinion, Cassiopeia will still remain a very powerful pick, and will keep appearing in different roles in solo queue matches. The reason for that is her core mechanics. She's a high DPS mage with very strong zoning potential. Cassiopeia is still too good at countering this tank and fighter meta the League of Legends has been stuck with these days. Much like Cassiopeia, Galio has been dominating the solo lanes throughout the previous patch. But unlike her, he's got a much tougher nerf this time. The damage of his Winds of War has been decreased, whereas the mana cost has been increased. And then the damage of the early levels of his Justice Punch has also been cut down. At the end of the previous year, Riot Games attempted to decrease the efficiency of this champion on the professional scene, while at the same time boosting him up in solo queue. The main way of achieving that was to shift the emphasis from his durability and crowd control, both of which made a name for him, towards the increased damage output. Simply put, they turned Galio from an anti-mage tank with a huge potential for follow-ups and disengages into one of the most powerful mages in the game who combines high amounts of burst damage and crowd control in his kit. However, all of that failed to achieve their intended goal. Galio's popularity among the professional players hasn't diminished, on the contrary, it has seen a huge rise. Just after the first week of the Korean LCK League, we're seeing Galio having 100% peak and ban rate. In 9.2, Riot Games are taking back the damage they gave to him, but they don't seem to return the defensive capabilities of his ultimate just yet. Galio is losing a major chunk of his burst damage, whereas the increased mana cost will seriously impair his ability to control the lane. We expect Galio to suffer a huge loss in his solo queue win rate. If you've been playing this champion, it's about time to find a replacement. Aurelia has received the first batch of changes aimed at shifting the emphasis from brutal fighter with massive spell burst damage towards a high DPS basic attacking fighter, which she was before the rework. Just as expected, these changes are going to take a few patches to be rolled out at full. In this patch, Aurelia is losing her ability to break shields and disarm her opponents, as well as a portion of her burst damage. All of that will definitely affect her performance in solo queue. The future patches are expected to grant her bonus movement speed on her passive and quite possibly a source of true damage as well. Her W spell will then start giving her more damage resistance, but only against physical attacks. The latter is actually live on the test server right now. All in all, we think that it's a bad time to start maining Aurelia right now. You'd really want to wait until the final changes arrive with the patches 9.3 and 9.4. Alright, now to the champions that received smaller tweaks. Let's start with Jax. His attack damage has been decreased, and then the damage of the early levels of his Leap Strike has also been cut down. This nerf will mostly hit the lower rating solo queue players, where they still aren't all that good at gauging their own damage output and thus get into fights they can't win. Other than that, Jax will remain a solid pick who can use just a couple of kills to start snowballing completely out of control. Kassadin also been slightly nerfed. His basic armor has been decreased together with his armor per level values. This nerf is aimed at making him more vulnerable to physical damage dealers. There aren't really that many of them in the current meta, so Kassadin should be more or less fine with that. However, at early levels, at mid and high ranks, he goes through a stage where he gets constantly attacked by the ranged basic attacks coming from the mages, which still deal physical damage to him. The mid laners in lower levels of play just rarely use that advantage to their benefit. That being said, we think that Kassadin will find it just a little more difficult to go through his laning phase now, but he will still remain a killing machine later on. Kayn is receiving the so-called quality of life changes. First of all, the rules for his transformation are now smoother and more intuitive. From now on, both of the forms have a shared progress bar. But whenever the time to transform comes, the form that is available will depend on the type of champions Kayn has dealt the most damage to. Other than that, Kayn can now keep picking up the spheres of the opposite kind after the transformation happens, to reduce the timer until the second form unlocks. In our opinion, Kayn has been in a good shape even without these changes. He's got a good place in this meta full of tanks and bulky fighters with low DPS and little to no burst damage. As a small bonus on top of that, he's got a slight buff for his shadow form, so we really expect him to become one of the key junglers of patch 9.2. If you haven't included him in your basic solo queue roster yet, now would be the right time to do it. Neeko's popularity alongside her win rate is currently at its lowest since the moment of her release. The reason for that is simple, it's just way too difficult to put her shapeshifting to use in solo queue. People at high levels of play are just way too good at discerning it, whereas in the lower levels her clueless allies ruin it all for her regardless. Even the massive damage and damage scaling with her ability power doesn't do much to save her. Because of all that, Neeko is getting another batch of buffs for the second patch in a row. The duration of the speed up and the duration of the clone applied and created by her W ability have been increased, and the clone now moves towards the target direction instead of the target location. Her pop-up blossom no longer slows the enemies, but she lands back down to the ground a little faster now. Those are peculiar tweaks which are aimed at making it easier for the players to outsmart their opponents using the clones. However, these changes most likely won't change her win rate that much. Like with Aurelian Soul, they will only be appreciated by the players who've already spent hundreds of hours playing her. However, there are still champions that have it worse than Neeko. After a somewhat huge nerf he received in patch 9.1, Ornn is finally getting some of his power back. His health and armor have been increased. Ornn's win rate rose after the patch 9.1. This change will add some strength to him, especially against the physical damage dealers, but it will most likely not change the situation in general. Ornn needs the shield of his W back, so that he could keep trading effectively and sustain himself throughout the laning phase. Without that shield, he's just too weak and simply can't survive until level 13, when his team would receive a massive power spike. Rakan is getting one nerf after another, mostly because of his popularity among the professional players and teams. So once again, he's getting a slight nerf aimed at the higher levels of play. His armor has been decreased, the speed of his grand entrance has been decreased as well, but it now activates a little faster upon landing. It will be much easier to react to Rakan's long-range initiation, making it easier for the more skilled players to come up with a counterplay. However, this change will not impact the lower ratings of play, where Rakan has long been at the very bottom of the support food chain. Shyvana has received a slight buff, which will come in pretty handy for people in low to mid levels of solo queue play. The damage bonus against dragons provided by her Fury of the Dragonborn has been increased twofold, making it much easier for her to tackle the dragons on her own. The mark damage of her Flame Breath has also been increased, both increasing her clearing speeds and making her deadlier during the fights. The more skilled players will not find these changes all that threatening, however, as they know just how vulnerable Shyvana is throughout the early game. She can be countered by constant vision set up near the Dragon Pit and by the early aggression aimed her way. But still, her win rate in low to average rating levels will most likely increase by at least 2 or 3%. It's time to abuse the real might of the Dragonborn. Fusro, well, that's a different game. Urgot has been exceptionally popular among the higher rating players and among the professional players alike. He's actually been picked as a mid laner recently too, so this slight nerf is more than justified. His armor has been decreased, the mana cost of his corrosive charge has been increased, the cooldown of low levels of his purge has been increased as well. All of this is supposed to weaken Urgot's early game, giving his opponents more chances of defeating him. However, we think that this change, although significant, will not really make an impact on Urgot's solo queue win rate at all. Volibear is getting a massive buff in this patch. Bonus damage against dashing and airborne targets his E is dealing now scales with the target's maximum health. The damage ratio of his ultimate has been increased. The lightnings now strike faster and strike multiple targets at once. Much like Shyvana, Volibear isn't at all popular among the players in higher ranks. His main issue is just how straightforward and predictable his playstyle is. On top of that, he's just way weaker than other fighters in terms of defensive capabilities. It's difficult to say whether or not he's going to become popular among the players in mid to high levels of play, but one thing is certain, players in lower ranks are going to love this. Yorick has got an interesting batcher change. The Maiden now follows him when he leaves the lane. Her health now scales throughout the match a little better, as long as Yorick himself buys the bonus health items. The Graves spawn more frequently during the later stages of the match. The Maiden and the Walkers no longer deal less damage when Yorick moves away from them. But still, no cigar for Yorick. Compared to the nerfs Yorick had to endure earlier, these changes don't really look like a solid buff, but they might turn him into a decent jungler. Much like it happened to Nasus in the previous patch. By the way, we've got a pretty good guide for jungling Yorick on our website, so we'd highly recommend that you watch it. Alright, this is where the champion tweaks are over. Let's get to some items now, shall we? And we shall start off with MoreLegends, or more specifically, the Oblivion Orb. Now, Oblivion Orb has become an item number 1 for the burst damage dealing mages. Thanks to how well it works with sorcerer shoes during the early game, many of those mages have been getting way too quick and way too powerful early on. That's why the orb is getting a well-deserved nerf. On the one hand, that is absolutely justified, but on the other hand, that's just yet another hit against the mages, which haven't been doing all that well to begin with. Much like with Oblivion Orb we just discussed, the developers decide to outline the unique part of MoreLegends a little more, that being the ability power boost and the Grievous Wounds effect. Now that the former has been cut down, the item should become more of an optional choice rather than a core part of the item builds. Just as they promised, Riot Games are bringing yet another buff to Sunfire Cape. It's got cheaper by 150 gold, and this is actually a very good buff for the top lane tanks. But there just aren't all that many tank champions playing in the top lane in this meta, so there won't be many players who find this buff useful. There are only Malphite and Maokai, both of whom have their win rates above 50%, whereas Shen, Mundo and Ornn are just way too low in the food chain to find the cape useful. Now let's move to the changes made to the runes. And we shall start with Overheal. The shield amount provided by the allied healing is decreased, whereas the self-healing gives more shielding in later stages of the match. The shield now disperses slowly and over time instead of all at once. This change is an attempt to bring variety to the runes in the precision path. Without turning Overheal into monstrosity it was at the start of Season 8. Overheal is now a very good choice for marksmen, especially for those who have to stay way too close to the heat of battle. Legend Bloodline has been the least popular rune in this path. More often than not, the players would prefer to have Alacrity or Tenacity instead. Lifesteal per stack value has been decreased, but the maximum number of stacks has been increased twofold. So all in all, the maximum lifesteal it can provide has been increased. Legend Bloodline is supposed to add to the Overheal rune, making this combo worthy of replacement the commonly used Triumph and Legend Alacrity. We think this combo will be especially useful for champions like Vayne, Kai'Sa and Twitch. Cut Down has received a slight buff. Bonus damage now scales with the percent maximum health difference, rather than the flat health difference. But the maximum bonus value has been decreased. This rune is no longer useful for just late game, but can actually be used from the start of the game. It will be a really good alternative to Coup de Grace for marksmen from now on. We'll keep a close eye on this one and make sure to let you know whether or not it will become a standard. Absolute Focus receives a nerf. This rune has been exceptionally effective for marksmen and junglers, as they could make the most out of the bonuses it provides in the form of PvE against minions and jungle monsters. Other than that, this change will affect assassin champions like Rengar or Syndra, both of whom use this rune to increase their burst damage output. The stat runes have also been slightly tweaked. Adaptive damage bonus has been decreased, armor and magic resistance have been increased. It's all pretty flat and simple, so we won't focus on this too much. And that's pretty much it for the runes. Let's move over to the changes made to Ignite. The damage and the cooldown have been reduced. All in all, this is a slight nerf to this summoner spell. Yes, you can use it more often now, but it will also deal less damage. We think that this change won't really change it in comparison to Exhaust. Exhaust still seems too optional when it comes to dominating the lane. Hand of Baron has been nerfed at the early stages of the match. Early buff now yields less power. It will prevent the aggressive team compositions that tend to dominate early on from finishing the match right after they get their first Baron. Inhibitor and Nexus turrets are now more powerful. They now always carry the late game defense values at all times. Much like the changes made to Hand of Baron, this change is aimed at weakening the dominating team compositions early on. Now, let's say a few words about the changes made to the jungle. During the preseason, the experience yielded by the camps was cut. However, the devs want to lessen the impact of the junglers even further, which is what this change is supposed to bring. The experience yield growth of the jungle camps has been decreased. The gold yield growth of the Scuttle Crab has also been decreased. This will definitely lower the influence the junglers have over the matches, especially in solo queue. It will now be more difficult to carry the entire team as a jungler. On the one hand, it's going to weaken the performance of the aggressive carry junglers, but on the other hand, the tanky junglers will also suffer, since their leveling is going to be slower. Challenging Smite has also been changed with the same thing in mind, that is to decrease the influence the junglers have on the outcome of the match. Its damage bonus has been decreased. Challenging Smite no longer provides vision over the target hit. Blue Smite now looks like a more reliable choice, so we'd highly recommend that you get it more often from now on. And this is it for now, guys. There were a lot of changes this time, which is why this video has turned out to be so long. Big thanks for sticking with us until the end. I hope that you enjoyed it. Now you're definitely ready to enter the new season and do well in your qualification matches. Make sure you check MoreLegends.com for more updates. On this note, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. You are the best. And as always, good luck in your solo queue.